Hey everybody, welcome back! In this video, we're going to take a look at the orchids and the accessories from a second trip to William Youngblood's greenhouse. So I went back to the greenhouse to get more orchid cages. I just love these awesome versatile orchid cages and wanted to get more. The first trip I took, I was not very smart. Before the first trip, I thought to myself, I'm going to remove the orchids from the pot for transporting. Then I forgot to do it. Well, I was eager to tour the backyard and the greenhouse and the shade house, then lost some time and just hurried up to load the car. I wasn't able to fit much in the car this way. Only a few orchid cages made it in after I crammed so many clay pots into the trunk. There was a lot of wasted room since I couldn't stack the orchids that were in clay pots one on top of another. So Michelle said I could come back again. She's so nice to let me. So this is our second trip. There were still a lot of orchids left, so after I picked out the cages, I had plenty of room to load orchids, and this time I was going to do it the right way. I got smarter and started pulling orchids out of the clay pot. William had all his orchids in clay pots. And I like all my orchids in plastic pots, so it won't be a wasted effort since I will have to go through this process anyway. I brought 3 clear plastic tubs to hold all the bare root orchids. Here's what we came back with. I've got a stack of orchid cages. I got the small ones and more of the larger ones. I also brought back some of these wired baskets William made. I had thought about making something like this with my leftover lightweight wired fencing that I had used on my outdoor shower, but I never got to it. So I'm so glad that William had already had it. I will add some modifications though of cedar fence boards because I like having more solid backing so that I can tie the dendrobium kings to any part of the backing. Here are all the bare root orchids that I brought back in the tubs. They're not in as good shape as the first load of the 38 orchids. Many had the blackened pseudobulbs, and I think it's due to long-term fusarium. I try to sort them out as I pulled orchids from their pots. One tub for all the orchids that seem to be sick with scales, mealybugs, or fusarium, and the other tub was for what seemed to be healthy orchids. The tub with the visible disease was overfilled, so I had to get a second tub for that grouping. Incidentally, they were all Cattleya hybrids. And the other tub that had what seemed to be healthy orchids were all dendrobiums. I was able to get a lot more dendrobiums this time, and I also got almost a dozen oncidiums for a friend that grows indoor, the same friend with the grow light that I helped set up. I did not count how many orchids I got this time. I will list the name of the orchids that I was able to find tags for in the description box. The best treasure I got this second trip is this really neat and different orchid. It's called a Dendrobium wassellii or Docrelia wassellii. The plant looks like it's all bulb and no leaves. At first glance, I thought that the orchid lost all its leaves. Then, when I googled it, I saw how unique it was. And the second good find that I got is Cattleya maxima times Walkeriana cerealia. So it'll be a pretty bluish orchid. Can't wait to see that one bloom. Both orchids are really tiny and will probably need a while before they get established and back in good health. And I think that's all part of the fun with rescue orchids is to get them back in good health and see what they can do. As I looked over each orchid carefully, I ended up cutting off a lot of the old growth that show fusarium. So the volume you see in the buckets here, it becomes about half after I was done cleaning. I'll go into more detail of the cleaning process in another video. The rest of the video is individual pictures of the orchids. Enjoy it and see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.